there's a ton of videos out there already on how to do it, but since we like to make things at home, I figured I'd show you. So if you want to make your own alcohol at home, you're going to need something to ferment in. Simple as a bucket. I prefer star sand. We got to clean everything so we can grow only the bacteria that we want. Get you some good yeast nutrient depending on what kind of sugar you're going to use. Since we're just going to use plain old corn sugar, there's really nothing nutritious about that for the yeast, so we're going to throw some nutrient in. Getting your sugar source could come from anything, from grains, from sugar, from fruits. Grains is a little more complicated process, so we're just going to show you a simple, easy process today. And a hydrometer, so we can check how much sugar we're actually putting into the water. Keep it at something where the yeast can actually chew through it and turn it into good tasting alcohol. Next, you want to make sure everything's already kind of clean. And we'll take our star sand. We just make some sanitation solution on the bucket, between bucket and bucket to bucket. Depending on what you're going to make, depends on how sterile you want to do it. If you're just going to make pretty sterile. And like here, you have boiled at the end, so you only need to be really sterile after that. You're going to distill it, maybe you can use it to sanitize, but it's going to run through a still anyway, so don't have to worry too much. So after everything is clean and sanitized, it's going to fill it up with water. As long as the water tastes good, nothing wrong with just using it. I'll try to explain to you how to use the hydrometer. So I'm aiming for about 10%. Right now, if everything fermented out dry, it says 9%, which is plenty close enough for me. Compared to if you take it over, and this one is just water, I'm kind of trying to get it to stop. Okay, sits all the way down where 0. Because I haven't put any sugar in this one yet. One of the reasons I love corn sugar. There's your water. Corn sugar dissolves with just barely even having to stir it. If you use regular sugar, like your regular table granulated sugar, sometimes you really have to mess with it. But if you're interested in that, let me know. I can make videos on doing inverted sugar or how to turn your grains into alcohol. This actually won't make the most tastiest alcohol. It's nothing but a sugar wash, but you can flavor it at the end however you want. You can really do this part one of two ways. You can make a yeast starter. Just throw in your yeast. Your yeast nutrient. And we'll just let it get started. Just use some of the original liquid that you're going to ferment. You can also just dump it right in, but at least if you do it this way, you can verify that it's starting and it's working. So we'll come back and show you what that would look like. Also, there's all kinds of yeast out there. This just happens to be the one I chose. Each one has a little bit of different flavor profile, but play around, see what you like. So when you know your yeast starter is ready, you'll see all the little bubbles starting to form on the top. So once your yeast starters are ready, super simple. Open your thing back up, pour it in. I kind of like to rinse it out a little bit, make sure we get everything. That's it for that. You just seal it up. And for each of your bubblers, just make sure you put a little bit of water in. I gotta get the rest put in, but that's it. Super simple. When it's actively fermenting, this is what you should see. So give it about a week, whatever you need to do, and it stops bubbling. Pull this out again. Set it in there and check it. You can see it's floating all the way up there. So it's done. There is no sugar left to be converted into alcohol. So on to the next steps. Well, from here, I guess it's just going to depend on what you want it to. Making beer and wine, as far as I know, is legal everywhere in the US. And as far as I know, to distill is illegal without any kind of permits or license to actually distill. Is anybody going to come after you? Probably not. So, we'll run through the next steps, hypothetically. Because without a permit to make fuel, or without some kind of legal stuff to make alcohol, technically distilling alcohol is still legal. As stupid as that may be. At this point, if you really wanted to, you could drink it. You have alcohol. But you'd probably want to start something other than corn sugar like we did in this recipe. Corn sugar makes good cheap whiskey if you distill it and age it on some wood. Will turn into some excellent Everclear if you follow the next few steps that we'll show you. Then you can make all kinds of good stuff out of that, like limoncello and other things. So, we'll move on to hypothetically distilling. Now let's just get that still filled up. After you got the still loaded, first step if you're doing a bigger batch, which is since you still gotta go through that jug and that jug. Wanted to, you can do a stripping run. So we're just gonna run it hard, fast. As fast as this condenser will cool it down. If you got steam coming out this end, then you're going too fast. So as fast as your condenser will cool it, and then we're just going to collect it in there, and we'll rerun it. So right now, got it going nice and hot. Just trying to bring it up to temperature. Whether you're just distilling water, whatever, we're going to run through one of these. Process is pretty much the same. There's cheaper sets out there than I got. There's much more expensive setups out there than what I have. Now if we want to go from your standard proof alcohol to something more like Everclear, we're going to have to change this setup a little bit. You're going to have to add in this piece so that we can send stuff back down. And you're going to add in some scrubbies or something else. Screen to hold it all up into this tube. We'll put the condenser up above here so that it can send stuff back down. Cycle it up and down. And we'll also add us in a bubble plate right at the bottom here. That will help create the interaction to bring the proof all the way up. Now everything's set back up, heating up. You put the plate in there and stuff all the stuff I showed you in this part of the tube. Little condenser here. Water running into the bottom, running out the top. Don't need a whole lot of water in this condenser. So that kind of flow that you see right there is plenty. Connecting over. And again, water in the bottom, out the top. Just run it right in the drain. Now you can see the two different levels of water flow. The two different condensers.